Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my breakdown of the Ghost Rider teaser from Comic-Con this weekend. Ryan Gosling is going to be playing a new version of Ghost Rider for a movie that Sean Levy is going to be directing for 2028 as part of the 3 movies Marvel is releasing that year, including the new X-Men reboot movie and the new Black Panther 3 movie that they also announced at that panel, with the new version of Black Panther played by David Johnson. So there's a lot to unpack, and it also involves Marvel trying to save Mahershala Ali's Blade character from oblivion, because it sounds like that movie is almost never getting made now. There have been so many rumors about Ryan Gosling being a version of Ghost Rider. It sounds like he actually sealed the deal a while ago and has been trying to keep it secret for the last several months. And because we're talking about Ghost Rider, we talk about the Hell Dimension. Mephisto helped create Ghost Rider and put the spirit of vengeance in him. It reminded me of this great line in the new Avengers Doomsday footage that they showed off exclusively in Hall H, where Dr. Doom is going up against all the other multiverse heroes in Avengers Doomsday, and Thor tells him, "You'll beg for hell when I'm done with you." Then Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom says to him, "Hell answers to me because I am Doom." At the Comic-Con panel, Kevin Feige and Ryan Gosling announced the Ghost Rider movie is coming out July 28th, 2028. It'll be their big summer movie that year after Secret Wars and Marvel Phase 7, one of the first movies in Marvel Phase 7 after the big X-Men reboot movie. Meaning that they're planning for it to be a big movie, like Spider-Man typically takes the July slot. Like, we're getting ready to see Spider-Man Brand New Day this week. I just posted my review video of the movie earlier today. So if they're releasing Ghost Rider in the middle of the summer, like their prime slot, it means that Marvel has really big expectations for the movie. So the way Kevin Feige explains it, it took until they were filming Star Wars Starfighter with Sean Levy for them to actually seal the deal. Like, it took that long to actually come to terms about what they'd be doing with the movie, and Sean Levy being the director of the movie too. The way that Kevin Feige talked about it, Ryan Gosling was a huge fan of the Ghost Rider comics. He grew up with the Danny Ketch era of Ghost Rider just based on his age. Feige then said that he came to Marvel, particularly with a specific vision based on some particular comics, but he didn't say which comics, which is why people are like, maybe he's talking about the Danny Ketch era of comics.
Hopefully be an R-rated Ghost Rider. Can you tell me if Ryan will be playing Johnny or Danny?
I am going to let Ryan reveal what he wants to reveal when he wants to reveal it.
The red jacket he's wearing is similar to Johnny Blaze's red clothing in the comics, and it already kind of looks a little bit like Johnny Blaze, the more modern depictions of the character, so people are like, maybe he'll play a version of Johnny Blaze in the MCU, but I actually think the logo for the movie and the way they designed it is a closer clue to him possibly being Danny Ketch, because it's the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider logo from the comics, not the Johnny Blaze version of the Ghost Rider logo. And you remember, if Ryan Gosling grew up being a huge fan reading the comics, he would have grown up reading the Danny Ketch era of comics just based on how old he was when he was reading those comics. And the reason why I really hope that he's actually playing Danny Ketch is because it would mean that they can bring Nicolas Cage back as his Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider in Midnight Suns team up, because that's the way it went down in the comics too, with Johnny Blaze teaming up with Danny Ketch. And they wouldn't have to retcon any of Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider movies, which Kevin Feige loves doing. He loves bringing old characters back and not retconning their movies. He's literally doing that in Avengers Doomsday with the classic X-Men coming back and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man Andrew Garfield coming back too. They did the same thing in Spider-Man No Way Home. They didn't retcon those Spider-Man movies. They just said they were happening in other universes. In the comics, Danny Ketch is also the long-lost younger brother of Johnny Blaze. The comics have retconned exactly how close this is. Like, are they half-brothers? Are they full biological brothers? But they're still brothers, you get the idea. They're still part of the Kale family bloodline, which Mephisto, bringing this back around to Mephisto, it was Mephisto all along, had long sought to corrupt to explain why he keeps coming after their family. His origin story is that he got his Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance powers, bonded the Spirit of Vengeance through a mystical sigil on a motorcycle. Blackout winds up being the big villain during his era, so maybe they introduce him in the new movie. For the most part, I do think that they're going to stick to core Ghost Rider villain characters for his movie, for the first one at least. And really big deep cut bringing this back around, the circle of Easter eggs is now complete. A lot of you remember that his wife in real life, Eva Mendes, played Roxanne Simpson, Johnny Blaze's love interest, in Nicolas Cage's first Ghost Rider movie. That was long before she married Ryan Gosling, but you get the idea. And after they made the announcement on the Comic-Con stage, she actually posted to her social, winking, thanking him from Roxy, like, hey, have a great time, thanks Roxy. No idea if she would ever cameo in this upcoming movie, but I think the idea is that her character is still alive out there somewhere in the multiverse. She wasn't really involved in that second Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie, Spirit of Vengeance.
Got your second chance. go out there and make the best of it.
When it comes to Mephisto, I do think Marvel wants to include Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto, at least in some small way, just to explain Ghost Rider's origin story, since Mephisto is how he got the Spirit of Vengeance in the first place. But I don't think they'd make Mephisto the big villain of his big summer movie, especially the first movie. But Mephisto and Lilith and Zarathos are like the big bads of the Ghost Rider group of characters inside Marvel, the Spirits of Vengeance. He's the one who bonded the Spirit of Vengeance to Johnny Blaze, making him and all the other subsequent Ghost Riders the new Spirits of Vengeance. The actual Spirit of Vengeance itself was the demon Zarathos, who was Mephisto's chief rival. Mephisto tricks Zarathos, trapping him by bonding his spirit with different humans across time, which are the Ghost Riders. So Ghost Rider's powers are demonic in nature. He becomes part demon when he gets his powers, and each Ghost Rider just uses those powers in different ways, like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes. Marvel was also about to start filming a live-action Ghost Rider TV series with his Ghost Rider after Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended, but that was right before Kevin Feige got control of all the Marvel TV side of the business and then canceled all those shows, including the Netflix Defender shows, which we all saw them come back now. Like, we're going to see all the Defenders back in Daredevil Born Again Season 3. So that Ghost Rider show also got canceled before it ever got started, and that's why the Ghost Rider character has just been sitting in Marvel's shelves for the last 8 years doing nothing in their big Indiana Jones warehouse. Like, when are we going to see Ghost Rider show up again? Which version of Ghost Rider? Just any version of Ghost Rider somewhere. Based on what Kevin Feige and Ryan Gosling said at Comic-Con, he sounds like he'd been talking to Marvel for years about doing Ghost Rider, but they didn't really seal the deal, like I said, until they were doing the Starfighter movie with him and Sean Levy. Disney, who owns both Star Wars and Marvel, loves making deals with big celebrities who are already seemingly pretty hot in Hollywood, like they're doing really well box office-wise with all their movies, and they're already under contract with them for other movies. It's like Pedro Pascal going from The Mandalorian to Fantastic Four. Same exact vibes. Just scoot him from one area of the Disney lot to the other area of the Disney lot and have him start shooting that other new movie. So the whole idea is that Marvel sees that he's really popular right now. His movies are doing very well box office-wise. He's popular. So now is probably the right time to try a Ghost Rider movie with him. Like, he's the right guy, and it's the right character at the right time. Also helps a lot that Ryan Gosling is a huge comic book nerd for Ghost Rider. Speaking of Ghost Rider nerds, Nicolas Cage, also a big, long-time comic book nerd, but for many other big comic book characters, not just for Ghost Rider. I literally just got done doing videos for his live-action Spider-Man Noir TV series. The only thing about the announcement I wasn't super crazy about was the Sean Levy announcement. Like, he just did Deadpool and Wolverine, it did make over $1 billion, he just did Starfighter, and then letting him also do the Ghost Rider movie implies that everyone at Disney and Marvel and Star Wars are really happy with the way that Starfighter went down, but otherwise they would have shown Sean Levy the door and tell him to screw off politely.
I have to break your neck. It's just the way it is. I'm just a messenger.
But Sean Levy isn't like the guy that you hire because of his creative vision. He's the guy who's like the studio man who will bring the movie in under budget and under time, like on time. So he's not the kind of guy who's going to get into fistfights with Kevin Feige over competing creative visions for the movie. One of the reasons why they decided 2028 is the right time for a Ghost Rider movie is because there'll be Marvel Phase 7, and in addition to the X-Men and mutants being like the core focus of this new era of Marvel movies, Kevin Feige already said they're going to be pushing into more supernatural stuff. So here's where we get to the larger plan that Marvel has to salvage Mahershala Ali's Blade and try to redeem their failures with that character. Kevin Feige literally just said he feels like a complete loser for not being able to get that Blade movie going, and the real reason it failed is a little bit more complicated. Marvel wanted a version of Blade to be a much bigger part of the MCU, connecting with all the other characters. Mahershala Ali didn't want that so much. Like, he wanted his movie to be more self-contained, set during the 1920s, deal a lot more with themes of slavery, like stuff that Marvel wasn't too keen on doing. This is also why there were so many different scripts for that Blade movie, so many different versions. Even Beau DeMayo, the fired showrunner of X-Men 97, said that he did one of those scripts for Blade, and his version of the movie was very different. I did a completely separate video about it, so I'll post it in the links below, but that is just why there were so many competing versions of the movie over time, just because they couldn't agree on which version to make. But their announcement at Comic-Con also reveals their plan to save Mahershala Ali's Blade from oblivion, and they won't prove Wesley Snipes correct. He will never only be the only version of Blade ever. And to be fair, Mahershala Ali's Blade did show up during Marvel Zombies, but that was another universe, and it was a version of Moon Knight Blade, and it was animation. We're talking about live action here, and inside the MCU. And Marvel's plan to save all this stuff they've been doing, especially with the Blade character, is in a Midnight Suns team-up movie that they've also been trying to make for several years, as long as they've been trying to make the Blade movie. Originally, the Blade movie with Mahershala Ali was meant to set up a Midnight Suns team-up movie with a lot of their supernatural characters like Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, characters like that. And now the new plan is pivoting to this Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider movie and using that as the launching pad for Midnight Suns. So in success, they can bring back Moon Knight, Blade, other supernatural characters, like I said, Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, anybody else that they want to put in that movie, even Doctor Strange. The reason why it makes more sense for them to use Ghost Rider to launch Midnight Suns instead of the Blade movie is because Midnight Suns in the comics originally came out of the Ghost Rider comics. He's like a core part of that mythos. The Spirits of Vengeance, the group of people who band together over time to fight Mephisto and Zarathos, were also called the Midnight Suns. Eventually, Marvel turned Midnight Suns into its own comic book title. It's had multiple iterations with multiple versions of the team, but the first team was Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, Blade, Morbius, Frankie Drake, Hannibal King, Vicky Montesi, Louise Hastings, and Sam Buchanan, but you get the idea, like the big characters were Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, Blade, and Morbius.
It's Morbid time.
The more modern version of the team includes Punisher, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Elsa Bloodstone, Dr. Voodoo, Wong, so many different characters they could put in a Midnight Suns movie. Lilith was the big villain for that first Midnight Suns team in the comics, and Marvel actually cast Mia Goth in real life to play Lilith during the Mahershala Ali Blade movie. She might still be under contract now if that hasn't languished, it's gone too many years. But they can still use her in a new version of this Midnight Suns movie someday. Kevin Feige originally said the supernatural team-ups themselves, like Midnight Suns, were intended for the characters that might not get time to shine in big Avengers movies like Doomsday and Secret Wars. For those of you that are bummed that we might not get to see some of these big supernatural characters come back in these big Avengers movies. And it sounds like their plan going forward is that they'll use this first Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider movie to launch Midnight Suns and possibly another version of the Blade movie in other spin-off supernatural movies in success, while at the same time doing a trilogy of Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider movies, assuming that everything goes well this first time. As for the villains of this first movie, they'll probably stick, like I said, with core Ghost Rider villains like Mephisto, Blackheart, Zarathos, Lilith, Blackout. There are several other demons and demon-adjacent villains that they can also use. My expectation is they're not going to redo his origin story the same way they did it in the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie. They'll just tell his origin story in flashbacks and chunks of the movie. Imagine a much more speedrun version of the origin story for Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, where they just blow through a lot of that story and get to the main plot of the movie way faster. And if we're talking about bringing back previous versions of Ghost Rider, Sam Elliott is still very much alive and can still come back as his Rider too in the movie if they want to have that cameo scene. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know what you want them to do with Ryan Gosling's Ghost Rider in other future movies and big crossovers after they're done with his solo movie. There's still a bunch of stuff from Comic-Con that I'm trying to make videos for, so I'll try to get those videos out as fast as possible. My X-Men 97 Episode 7 video will also post next, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. There's a bunch of other Spider-Man Brand New Day videos that I'm making for later this week too, like post-credit scene video, full breakdown Easter eggs. I literally just posted my review video for that. Click here for that, and click here for all my other big videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.